It is me, your favorite actor, Marc Chouen. If you notice, there's no Samira today. Why is that? What's going on here? Well, I thought I was done doing interviews here for Shot of Wrestling because of my new role in BCW, but no. When a man of this pedigree reaches out to you and requests you to do an interview, man, you listen. A man of this resume, I don't want to get it wrong, so here we go. He is ECWA Super 8 winner. He is the Warriors of Wrestling Pro Wrestling champion. He is a two-time BCW World Heavyweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for wrestling's richest prize, Mr. Darius Carter.
Look at that beauty, and also look at that championship. The greatest thing going today. Woo! Believe it, baby. And if you don't want to believe it, I'll show you again and again and again until you understand the truth. Look at that.
Oh. It is a beautiful championship. It is a beautiful championship indeed. Oh. And now, the first time ever two-time champion in BCW. Darius Carter, this is something you've been vying for well over a year. How does it feel to finally get your hands back on your championship?
Listen, everything that I've wanted, and we've talked about this, you and I have discussed this, and we have had our history over the years, but I have made it so clear, and even my greatest enemies and detractors have known how important this championship was to me. It's not just about holding a title, it's about holding the company. And my position was always that if I'm carrying the company on my back, if I am walking us through the flames, through the desert to reach water, why is it that I don't have the championship? Why am I still the top guy without the representation? And now that I have my title back, I am ready for an all-new BCW. I know BCW is ready for a new BCW. Sent Caprice Coleman back to Honor Club, back to the commentary table where he best serves in 2023. And now we know who is running the show again. No more Marina, no more Mrs. Strong, okay? It's all about the All-Father, and it's all about the movement, baby. So I'm glad that we are back in the saddle.
All right. Well, Darius, what does this mean for BCW, a new BCW, as you're talking about? The first reign, obviously monumental, historical, if you will, because of how long you've held that championship. And now here we are, two times. So how will this reign differ from the first time?
And listen, and when you set a record, one of the most difficult things that a wrestler can possibly do is break their own record. 1,227 days as BCW champion, then to have that taken away from me, and now to get it back. Let's look at the facts. Look at the history. I mean, when I won that championship back in November 2018, a week later, I defended it at WrestleCade in North Carolina. So I knew that I had to make a big move with this championship. So literally, not even a full week, or maybe a couple weeks, I should say, after I won this championship, we went over to California for WrestleMania week, and I defended the BCW World Championship, debuting for a company. Again, just as I had debuted for WrestleCade in 2018, I debuted for VXS with Shadow Wrestling Alliance, and I defended that championship there. I was the only champion at that promotion. I was the only one to walk out with the title. You can watch that show front to back. VXS set the tone. I was the only one that had a title. So the representation there was tremendous. Anthony Cole, despite some of our differences, we were able to come to terms with business. And we had one of the best showings there. I still get contacted. I know Cole has been contacted. When is Darius Carter coming back to California? I see the messages on Instagram. I get them on Twitter. It's tremendous. And that's what we're here to do. We're building business. It's not just about me. And I get vilified. I get painted as this selfish glory hound. But I'm making the moves that others won't make. Others would not go to WrestleMania week. Others would not take the risk to go out there. I did. And then I went out there and debuted for GCW for the culture and won there as well. So all I'm doing is elevating the brand with every move that I make. So this is what it's all about. Now I bring that back. I return that energy to Ridgefield Park, to my opponent, Marcus Mathers, who we're going to get to in a moment, and to this company. When I say I'm building a place and holding a place up, I don't just mean, oh, I show up every month, do a promo, have a great match and leave. That's
Not your
not
style.
carrying a company. That's not it. That's not it. And see, you can tell, you can agree with me. I've thrown you face first into a ring post, and you can still sit there and understand the business that I'm delivering. That's what it's about here. It's about numbers. It's about everything going up, revenue going up, attendance going up, attention going up. And as we've discussed, eyes are on the prize, baby. Eyes are on wrestling's richest prize.
Well, listen, as you brought up the unfortunate incident with me, I could still understand what is good business. Darius Carter has always been good business. And dude, there's been nothing but respect on my end for you, even before that, after that, especially after that. You knocked some sense into me for that one. But that's a whole other story. You went to LA, obviously, WrestleMania week. Big moment there for you, as you discussed. Lots of things been happening ever since, though. I mean, like, you know, you've gone viral a couple of times since then. You had an interview with Fightful. You know, you were number 149 PWI 500, right? One step over the Miz, actually. Do you feel your stock is still continuing to rise at this moment? Like, do you feel like a shift at this point since winning the BCW World Heavyweight Championship? Excuse me.
Absolutely, and that's a very difficult list. And I'm a realist. And when I saw 149, I was like, then I was in Cancun, and it was on a Tuesday, and I see this, and I'm like, look at that, 149. Now, of course, do I believe that I'm the best thing going today? 110%, absolutely. But
You have to.
that top 500 is including everybody. That's including WWE. That's including Roman Reigns. I mean, to rank in that level, to rank so high, to rank one above the Miz, I mean, that's real deal business, because these guys are calculating how many matches I'm wrestling, championships I'm winning, how much attention I'm accruing. You don't just get there off of a good night. You don't just get there off of a good few months. And that's why I've been making sure every month I'm delivering something. This year alone, I've made multiple debuts. I debuted in DC. I debuted in Maryland, okay, challenging for the Pan-African World Diaspora Championship. So my stock has really only risen. And I know that's a difficult, and I know that's difficult when you're 149 and it's like, man, will I be able to beat that this year? Will I be able to be 148, or will I be able to break the 150? Can I break 100? Who knows? I'm not the one who makes those determinations. And what's funny is I don't even submit to PWI, so I didn't submit to them that year, and I got in. I've submitted to them before, absolutely. I submitted years back, but once I got onto PWI, I was like, I'm not going to submit anymore, because now that they know who I am, now that they're watching, I want to see where they rank me. So I didn't even submit. So I'm very excited to see where I end up. I'm built on merit, man. I don't want to get pushed into something. I want it to be earned. I want it to be delivered to my doorstep. And listen, if I can break 149, I feel like I've done a lot of work to get there. I've wrestled a lot of different places. Again, Warriors of Wrestling being over 240 days as world champion, defending against some of the best. I defended against Tessa Blanchard. I defended against, you know what I mean? I'm defending against credible opponents along the way, Facade, people that are getting buzz in their own right now. And then with BCW, again, just to take this championship back from Caprice Coleman, by the way, beating Caprice Coleman, who isn't always wrestling these days, but when he is, look at him, he's in tremendous shape. He's
dude,
still
ripped.
Tremendous shape, still a figurehead of the culture, the very culture that I'm looking to be champion of by winning that Pan-African World Diaspora Championship. But when I win that title, does that make the BCW title any lesser? Absolutely not. Does that mean I'm missing BCW shows? Absolutely not. And that's the difference between me and other wrestlers. I fill that distance. I make that trip work. I do 2 shows in a day. I've done 3 shows in a day, which was absolutely chaotic, but I make it work. That's the type of thing that I'm willing to do to make not just myself recognized and get that recognition and get that appreciation, but to elevate the businesses that I work with and to do good business. Promoters like it when I'm not choosing one over the other, when I'm able to fulfill those dates accordingly. That's what the business is, baby. And that's what I'm here about. I am the business. I am the most professional wrestler. And that's what I'm here to prove every single night, every single month.
I think the name Darius Carter and professional go synonymous with each other, hand in hand. But Darius, I've noticed something here about you because, yes, I mean, basically you're a hot commodity. So many promotions want you. You continue to make debuts somehow, some way. You're still making debuts, just all throughout, and it's amazing what you're doing. Champions all throughout different promotions, but it seems like you have a deep affinity with BCW. It seems like that holds a near and dear place to your heart. And I'm not just talking because, we are a shot of BCW. I'm just talking because this comes from a real place. Why is that? Am I correct in saying that? A, and B,
100%.
why is that then?
Nail on the head. I mean, I started wrestling for this place in 2016. We're talking 7 years of activity. And once I started wrestling BCW shows, I was on all of them. It's not like I did a few stints, was off and on, like a lot of people can say, like much of the roster can say. If you really look at it, I'm the one primary stalwart of the company from 2016. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the other BCW champions that we had. We had Azriel, is there and not, and he's typically not there as much. Joe Gacy, who's in the WWE now in NXT. Mike Orlando, who's in Florida and did his thing. He's gone. So let's look at that. There's a short lineage of champions because a lot of the champions held it for a good amount of time, but nobody held it. I mean, I broke Azriel's record. He had the record before me as longest reigning. And not only did I break his record, but I beat him to become champion and then break it. There's something
and
special.
And beat him in a rematch as well.
And then I beat him in a rematch a week later at WrestleCade. I mean, this is with Jeff Jarrett and Gorilla recording us. I mean, you can't take this away. Hurricane, Helms, and Carlito and these guys talking after the match. And I mean, WrestleCade was a tremendous experience where I was able to hold that championship high and keep that brand in people's head. And that's what this is about. I mean, 2016, that's 7 years of service, and being there. And what's funny is my first BCW event was Summer on Smash.
That was my debut. No way.
Yeah, absolutely. Summer on Smash. It was a 6-way match. It was myself, it was Grim Reaper, Habib from the Car Wash, MJF, Mike Donovan, and Hippie Dicky Moon. I remember it like the back of my hand. That was my first BCW match in 2016. And here we are, the Summer on Smash 2023. I've been here the entire time, and I was the last one to get the title out of all the champions. I didn't get the opportunity for a title until 2018. I wrestled 2 years for that promotion for BCW, earning, scratching, digging, clawing, rising, rung by rung. Some rungs were removed, and I had to leap a rung. I mean, I went through the trials and tribulations to stand before you as your first ever two-time BCW World Heavyweight Champion. I was there to watch the championship become a world title because it wasn't a world title at first, of course. It had to be defended outside of the United States. So I was there to watch that happen. I was there when Mike Orlando was given the ball and everything. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, absolute talent, but my day will come. It may come at his expense. And believe me, I had to prove myself again and again. I had to prove myself twice on Sunday. But here I am, walking into All Father's Day, a 2-time champion, the first of its kind in BCW. Absolutely, this place holds a heart to me because it holds a special place in my heart because when you help build a place, and when you help build a place, when you were there every month, when you were one of the last people to leave the venue, every single show, you're seeing things, you're having conversations, you're watching the promotion literally develop before your eyes. And I can say that I was a founding father. I was a pillar of this place. And the other pillars aren't even there. So I'm really the one pillar. I mean, without Darius Carter, what happens with BCW? I got to hold this place up. And I take that with pride. Some people, they sweat. They're like, oh my goodness, the torture. It's so much work. I love it. I invite it. I welcome it, and I thrive on it.
Well, the saying goes, if it was so easy, everyone would do it. And it's not so easy being that guy or that woman in some cases. But Darius, you are doing it, and you are a perfect example of what to be as a champion. I could say that with all due respect there. Now let's switch gears here. You talk about Summer Smash. I didn't know that was your first time in BCW. That's amazing. A little trivia nugget for the fans over there when Instagram drops that for BCW. Summer Smash coming up, Father's Day, June 18th. The Mecca, as they call it, right? Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. You are defending your championship, your World Heavyweight Championship against Marcus Mathers. Now, I know he's a young buck. I know his name has been coming up quite a bit. Not your first rodeo with him, though. How is this going to be different from your first time that you guys wrestled?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the kid's 20 years old, and he's very successful for his age. He's one half of the Dreamwave Tag Champions. His kids got a show named after him at H2O. I see him posting about it all the time, and it's nice to see. Again, I want quality competition. All right, that's another thing that I want. I listen. My first run, I had some tremendous challenges. I went through Austin Theory. Okay, your current United States champion on the largest wrestling promotion in the world, who just was at WrestleMania and beat John Cena. And it wasn't that long ago. We're talking 2019. It wasn't that long ago.
You could just end a name right there. You could just end the list right there.
I can end it right there if I wanted to. I don't have to mention Dan Mauve. I don't have to mention the Riley Shepard. I don't have to mention Sue Young. I don't have to mention all of these people that I've put down to build the championship, not just myself.
JTG, another big one.
Oh, of course. Oh, man, I can name them all if we wanted to name all of them. JTG in Atlantic City, another tremendous venture for BCW. No matter what anyone wants to say about that show, the fact of the matter is we went out there to Atlantic City and put on
in the middle of a pandemic.
During a pandemic, by the way, and we went out there at the showboat. I exited out of a limousine. I came out of a limo with the championship around my waist. I went, I beat JTG, and I went back in that limo and rode out. That's what I did. I did that. And BCW was able to do this because they had someone like me that is reliable, dependable, and will show up to do the job and do the work. So how do you beat that? That's what this second reign's about. And Marcus gets to be the first opponent in New Jersey that I'm defending my championship against. And he's a tag champion. He's doing a lot of tag team work right now. We wrestled each other years ago. And again, it was an inconclusive match. Things kind of went haywire with us just getting into a brawl, and the match just broke down. But this here, he's older, he's more mature. And I mean, I'm on a completely different level than I was then. And that's with due respect to my abilities and achievements at that time. Now, some 3 years later, 4 years later, I mean, that match happened a while ago. For us to be reconvening like this for the BCW World's Championship, my first match back at Ridgefield Park in several months, my second championship defense in my record second reign, this is extremely special. And I hope Marcus knows that, because I see him posting and tweeting, and he's posting a lot about H2O and these other shows, and I get that he's wrestled me a while ago, and maybe he doesn't fully grasp the magnitude of this match, but this is a major deal. And if this kid doesn't come prepared, if he doesn't come ready for the biggest singles match of his 2023 year, he's in trouble. And I'm going to end this quickly. And if I end this quickly, I'm going to talk a lot about it. So he better make sure that he comes fully equipped, because this isn't Matt Tremont School. This isn't down South New Jersey. This is BCW. This is the same promotion where I took Christina Marie and threw her over a table by her hair. This is the same promotion where I took Reverend Ron Hunt and sucked the wind out of that man. I dragged him through minutes of that match. I broke that man's spirit. This is this promotion where I took Steve Mack, Monster Mack, a legend, and I regalplexed him on the back of his neck. This is the promotion where I competed in a Grand Dragon tournament just to elevate the title. I was worrying about Marina Shafir and the heavyweight championship. But what do? You tag Darius Carter. Why? Because you need someone who's going to promote the material and elevate the title. And that's what I did. Without even winning the title, I've elevated it. And all due respect to Anthony Gangone, but I did more for that title than Gangone's doing with it right now. That's the fact. And if Gangone has a problem with that, he can come see me for my heavyweight championship, my world's heavyweight championship, which I gladly put on the line against him. He can keep the Grand Dragon championship. I've made it clear that I don't need that. But if he wants to try and cash in on an opportunity, he can get it too. And it's not any disrespect to Gangone because he's one of the greatest in the world today, okay? No disrespect to any other champion in the company. Vicky is doing her thing. But Vicky's another one. Yeah, I'll say it to you. I'll say it to you while you're here. But the thing about Vicious Vicky is Vicious Vicky lost her match that night and then was put into the match later on. I didn't have to lose earlier in the night to win later on. I didn't have to get a win back. Okay? All due respect to Vicky. See, this is what I mean. These champions can look to me. Gangone looks to me just as he has his entire career. Vicky can look to me. Hey, look, I know AJ calls himself the guiding light, but I am the guiding light. I am the lighthouse. Without me, you can't see the water. You can't see what's coming without Darius Carter. I'm a role model. I'm a champion. I'm a motivating factor. That's what I'm here to be, and that's what BCW needs me for.
Now, actually, you bring up good points here about the other champions here at BCW. Let's not forget the tag team champions over a year strong. Blonde Force Trauma.
Two before you, of course, get into your point. Let me get to them too. Two independent legends. I mean, listen, I don't overthrow that word or overuse that word, but listen, Heather Monroe has been in there with some of the best talent in the world, and she's constantly promoting the championship. I love to see that. She's a tremendous, one of the finest additions to this brand that we have seen. Same thing with Ray Lynn, who has competed against some of the best from coast to coast. That woman is always putting in the work, and she doesn't always get the credit that she deserves. But
no, she does not.
No, but here she is. And Heather in a way doesn't either, but Heather has been around and listen, both those girls, great. But the thing is they're not BCW based. They're not people that came up through the BCW ranks, okay? They're two independent stars that came in and won the tag championships. That's a great thing, okay? But it's another thing to be someone that built the house, kept the house up so that he could see a championship opportunity. And that's what I did. And that's what makes me different from every other champion on the roster.
Well, I think you just touched on my question before I even asked it. Because what I was going to ask, because, obviously when Marina Shafir was champion, there was, when she wasn't able to compete, right, there was a large missing piece to the puzzle of BCW. A void, thank you, with the World Heavyweight Championship not being on the card. So, of course, that left other champions to try to fill the spot. Anthony Gangone. I'll leave Vicious Vicky out of this right now because she was not champion during that time.
We covered
but Blonde Force Trauma. These were champions during that time, during that absence, trying to lift the company, trying to vie for the top spot. Ruthless Lala at that time. Now that you're champion, now that the World Heavyweight Championship is back in the centerpiece, would there be some sort of awkwardness in the locker room? Now, because everyone's an alpha in that locker room, especially the champions. It is what it is there. But now that it's back, right? Now you're here with the belt. How is that going to look like?
I mean, it should be recognized at this point. Listen, you can be a top person in BCW, but you can't be the top person. You don't have the accolades, the resume that I have. You don't have the showing power that I have. And when I say showing power, I mean somebody that's always there, somebody that is there to do the segments, to do the pre-tapes, to do everything. that there's nobody that's carried that weight for as long as I have. I don't think it really needs to be said at this point. I think the difference between this run and the last run was my last reign. I had to establish that I was the very best, even with the championship. I needed to show people that I was the best, even as champion. Because listen, I won the BCW title in my first championship defense. I've only ever lost one BCW title match ever, and that was to Marina Shafir, who's in AEW, who was in the WWE, who trains with Shayna Baszler, who I look up to in a tremendous way. The four horsewomen. So
and Ronda Rousey, yeah,
and Ronda Rousey, of course. You know what I mean? A woman that main evented WrestleMania. That's what it took to remove the title from my grasp. And even then, Marina couldn't show up to defend the title against me because she knew that she only had one win. She only had one win over Carter, and that's all you're going to get. I am a walking supercomputer. I will study her better than she would ever study me. She has
you are AI.
husband. She doesn't have time to study Darius Carter the way that she can't find the depth. There was no limit to my depth. And by the time Marina tried to find a weakness, I would have already overcame it and replace it with another strength. She wouldn't have been able to beat me again. And she knew that. I mean, real talk. Marina Shafir knew that she wasn't going to beat Darius Carter again. That's why she defended against Brandon Kirk because, listen, all respect to Brandon Kirk, great talent, tremendous talent, known him for many years, in and out of the hardcore scene. He's not just a deathmatch hardcore wrestler. The guy can go. But Marina would much rather take that match and a Casey Catal match than take Darius Carter. Believe that. As much as I was calling her out over the course of 6 months, she couldn't make it. She could have made it one show, and she knew not to, because she would have got exposed. And that's the thing. I exposed people. So Marcus won't have a tag partner. He won't be tagging out. Dreamwave tag title won't mean a thing when he's standing across from the single greatest BCW champion that has ever existed.
Darius, I've been recently watching Man in the Arena recently, right? Great documentary piece about Tom Brady, one of the best to do it of all time. And yes, I'm putting Darius Carter and Tom Brady in the same name because they're both great at what they do. Now, I just recently watched the episode where Tom Brady talks about the infamous 18-0 season, right? It was a perfect season, his best season of all time, and then losing to the Giants.
The Giants, yep. I want money on that game.
I did. I was a very happy man that day myself. Now, Tom Brady, years later, he's retired now, years later, talking about that loss, you see the pain in his eyes, right? It still gets at him. It still eats at him, right? The man almost looks like he has to go to therapy about this, or maybe he has. Seeing you talk about that loss to Marina Shafir kind of strikes me in the same way. Is that the equivalent for you? Does that still eat at you, even though you're champion today?
Here's the thing: I'm acknowledging it because, listen, I'm not going to skate it under the rug. I'm not a coward. I'm not a chicken. All right, it happened. It happened. All right, but you know what didn't happen is the rematch. So you know what it is I'm thirsting for that rematch. I still want that rematch. Even though I'm champion again, even though I'm back at the top, at the zenith of BCW, yes, I still want that match. Not that I have anything to prove, because I don't have anything to prove, but I want Marina to know. I want Marina to hear the third slap on the mat. I want her to lose consciousness, to submit. I want her to be defeated by Darius Carter. That's what I want. That, to me, is as good as being champion again. Now, listen, contracts, politics, the match may not happen outside of a television program. The next time I wrestle her may be on TV somewhere, if that's a thing, if we get to intergender wrestling on televised events outside of Impact Wrestling, right? But that is definitely a match that I want again. It's not about the past. It's about the future. And it's about me wanting to stake that claim. I put the flag in BCW. I want to put the flag in Marina Shafir.
Oh, that's a line.
It's the fact. It's the facts.
I can tell. I can tell how bad you want this, and I can understand why from a competitor's angle here on why you would want that, and that's why I posed a question. Darius, before we wrap things up here, I do have to ask this, because when you did lose that match to Marina Shafir, there was a Darius Carter that I personally never seen before. I've brought up countless times. There was a different edge to you. There was a viciousness that, yes, you've always been vicious, but it was escalated times 10. I felt like it was the most ruthless Darius Carter we have ever seen. And now that you've won the championship back, is that edge still there, or is it worn off a bit?
You tell me if it's still there. You tell me if it's still there. And here's the thing, Mark, right? You weren't there in Baldwin Park in California. You weren't there for my debut with VXS when I carried that championship, when I carried this sweet, precious BCW World's Championship into that company. You weren't there to see it. Let me make this very clear. And this is why I almost feel bad for Marcus, because he's a young kid. And I almost wish, to be honest with you, I almost wish that I was wrestling against a veteran, an established veteran, because at that point, it's not as painful, right? Marcus is 20 years old, on the upswing of his career, breaking out of the H2O mold. He did great there for years, was wrestling there. Now he's the IWTV attention. He had a lot of success through IWTV, through Jerry, with Jerry support, which I don't get, but I still make waves whenever I'm on IWTV. I don't get the Jerry love or appreciation or favoritism, but I make the waves, and he knows it. So Marcus, 20 years old, tag team champion, upswing in his career. This kid doesn't know what he's walking into. He has no idea. No idea. He's a sweet kid. He's nice. He means well. He has no clue, not an iota, of the man that he's walking into that ring against. If he thinks that this Darius Carter is anything like the Darius Carter of 2019, this Carter is top 150 in the world. This Darius Carter walks into a promotion and they want to give him a championship. And I say, no, let me earn it. Because they see how I walk, how I talk, how I move. Marcus is in for a night, the likes of which I couldn't explain to you here. I couldn't tell you enough what's going to happen to this man. And it's not that I don't like him. It's not that he's an enemy of mine. I wish the kid well. But he's walking into my territory, coming into my BCW. If I don't eviscerate this kid, if I don't lay him out, if I don't make him suffer, people are going to think. People are going to wonder. And I'm not worried about what people think or wonder, but it's reputation, it's business. And I have a piece of work that I have to do for not just myself, but for BCW. Listen, there may be some blood. There's going to be some bruising. I can assure you the bruising. This kid is in for an excruciatingly rough night. Hopefully he doesn't end up on dark side of the ring. Because what I have to do is a mission. It's a mission. You may not have seen it, but what I did to MBM in my debut, pile drove the man, sat him up, royal sweep. Could have pinned him after the pile driver. I dictated when I wanted that match to end. Marcus, he might get hit so delirious, he's going to reach for a tag partner. He's going to stick his hand out and he's going to pray to the heavens above that somebody is there to tag him out. It's not going to happen. He's going to try a cute little dive. I'm going to stop it. He's going to come with strikes. I hit harder. He's going to try and grapple. I grapple far superior. He's going to try and high fly. That's his only way. He's going to try and use speed. I'm going to take his legs. I'm going to take his mobility. I'm going to take his confidence. I'm going to take his soul. And the worst part is not even hate on the line. I don't even hate him. I don't hate him. Just got to do what I have to do. And that's what this kid needs to be tweeting about. That's what he needs to be messaging about. He should be on the Twitter machine right now talking about how he's getting ready for Darius Carter. He should be on Facebook, on Instagram, posting stories, posting reels about how he's preparing for Darius Carter, because I am at the top of my game and I only want to get better, and I am only getting better. I need to be better than yesterday. And the thing about him is, think about this match. The night before, I'm in New York in a submission match against Janai Kai.
Oh,
I have to make her tap out. And then you know what I have to do the next day? Show up to BCW and defend this championship against Marcus Mathers. Do you think that I'll be in any mood to play games? Do you think that I'll be in any type of headspace to let this kid get any offense in? You think that's what this is about? He has no clue. He has no idea. And we're going to tag him in this and make sure he sees it. And he might like and retweet it and not say a word. And that's okay, because he'll say everything that I need him to say inside of my ring when I defend my BCW World's Heavyweight Championship. Here's the thing. I let this go one time, and it tore my world apart. What do you think I'll do this time to keep it?
Ladies and gentlemen, did Darius Carter lose his edge? Absolutely fucking not, as you can tell. Thank you so much, Darius Carter. This has been absolutely amazing. I can't wait. June 18th, Father's Day, ladies and gentlemen. Summer on Smash.
All Father's Day. All Father's
Day. Excuse me. All Father's Day. Rebrand that day for Sunday. BCW Summer on Smash, a tribute to Mama Pan. Get your tickets while it lasts right now. Darius Carter defends his BCW World Heavyweight Championship against Marcus Mathers. It's going to be a fight. That's all for me. Marc Chouen, your host of Shot of Wrestling. Hollywood is out.